Sorry.
Here.
Robel.
Here.
There's
Here. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine notice. We're here today at a special meeting.
I'm sorry, excuse me, the sunshine notice should include the papers
Miss-
to which it was,
Miss,
this is in
please.
compliance with the
Point of order.
OPMA, I'm supposed to put you on notice that you are not in compliance with the OPMA. All right, that's in the law that I can put you on notice this way. The OPMA states that the sunshine notice should include the papers to which notice was transmitted and when that transmission was done. Could you please state that?
You know the papers which was sent to. Belleville Times, Star Ledger, and Chronicle Observer.
When
I don't know the
it
exact.
did not appear in the Star Ledger, so that's why I'm
No,
asking.
it appeared in the Belleville Times. I'm sure you looked.
Was it transmitted to the Ledger? And when?
It's appeared in the Belleville Times. We notified, we have to notify one paper, and that's what we did. Discussion. We're here today to discuss with Darlene, discuss the housing element and fair share plan.
Mayor, this should be, somebody should make a motion to go in private, but, you know, just to inform the public that you're not going to take any action, maybe I should make a statement.
Yeah, definitely.
The purpose of this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, is to discuss a matter that is in litigation right now. It's a matter that all 21 towns in Essex County have presently pending in Essex County. And the genesis of it is several years back, Governor Christie essentially shut down the Council on Affordable Housing. And so for a long time, the standards relating to the responsibility of each municipality relating to its fair share of affordable housing was in a state of limbo. And that's the best way I can put it. The Council on Affordable Housing filed litigation, and the Supreme Court ruled on it in the matter of the adoption of two codes of the New Jersey Administrative Code, two sections, NJAC 5:96 and 5:97. It was a decision that was rendered by the Supreme Court, which Belleville will follow, in March of 2015. And it set forth certain steps that each municipality had to fulfill in order to become compliant with the with COA regulations. So what Belleville did is it timely filed what's called an action for a declaratory judgment, and then we followed certain steps attendant to that decision. The last of which was in December to continue what's called our builder's immunity status, so that no builder can sue us during the pendency of trying to figure out what Belleville's responsibility is under the law. Judge Carey last month, Dennis Carey, is handling this litigation, and he ordered, there were a certain group of towns that hired a certain expert to do studies on their towns. Their expert did the studies. Actually, Belleville was included in one of them. There were some numbers that he put in, relating to Belleville. He filed it with the court, and there was a response that was also filed by the Fair Share Housing Center, who's represented by Kevin Walsh, disagreeing with the findings in the original report. Judge Carey has set up a number of scheduled dates, one of which is next week, for the parties to come in to make sure everything is moving along, which on Belleville's side it is. We have also filed a motion to have an ordinance put into place to permit Belleville to obtain fees from whoever is going to be developing within the township. And this is all in compliance with the Supreme Court's decision. The meeting that we're going to have in private now is to discuss the plans that are going to be presented to the court once the governing body decides on it, and they're not going to decide on it tonight. One element is the fair share housing plan, one element is a spending plan. I can't give you a good direction now with regard to either of those things, except to say, Belleville, there's whisper words out here that Belleville intends to exercise eminent domain. And that's not Belleville's intention to do that. As a matter of fact, I think the last time this came up was in connection with what's commonly known as the Finkelstein project. Well, the Finkelsteins came in and had a meeting with myself, their attorney, the manager. The mayor was present, Councilman Kennedy was present, and they expressed a desire to work with the township relating to whatever is going to eventually get constructed there. In one of the reports, it found that Belleville is a fully developed town, and we therefore don't have an obligation right now, at least as far as that report is concerned, to build affordable housing units based on our present status. So ultimately, we think what Belleville's responsibility may become is from this fund that developers will be contributing to, buildings that are already here will be rehabilitated, and that will be probably the direction that Belleville is going to go in. But that depends on our discussions with our expert, the decision of the governing body, and I should have said first, the court. The court is going to look at each township's or city's or borough's plan and see whether or not the individual plans comply with the law. I have had discussions with the attorney for the Fair Share Housing Center, and those discussions have gone very well. I think he likes what we're trying to do here in Belleville as far as being compliant with the law. So that all having been said, this matter is in litigation. If there's a motion to go into private, there's not going to be any action taken. We're going to have our expert address the governing body.
Mr. Mayor, just one point of order, one of his comments. For the record, I want the record to show that the planning board did approve eminent domain on the Finkelstein property. In fact, Councilman Kennedy attended that meeting and he voted for it, and then he left. I believe you may have been at that meeting. Now, it hasn't gone to the council yet, but contrary to what Mr. Murphy said, the planning board did approve eminent domain on the Finkelstein property.
Well, as you know, Mr. Frantantoni, the council has final say.
I know that, but I just want the record to show that the first step has already been taken by the planning board. So it's not that we have no intent. Your planning board did have an intent, and they voted so.
Mayor, I need to respond to that. See, the issue with eminent domain in any township, but most especially in Belleville, is that generally eminent domain is not an effective tool anymore for development. Generally, eminent domain will be approved if the subject matter of the eminent domain ordinance or application or resolution is going to be turned into public land, parks, things like that. I don't think Belleville has any intention of doing that in that particular area of the township. More importantly, there are steps that you have to take before you're subjecting property to eminent domain, which involves A, notice to the owner, B, you have to, before you can even go into court, you have to show the court that you have enough money to buy that property. And if you don't have enough money to buy that property, there's not going to be eminent domain. So that is not on Belleville's radar screen here. I believe what happened with regard to the planning board and that resolution is that someone was under the impression that the owners might have wanted the eminent domain inclusion in that resolution. I think, as a result of our discussion, that we've clarified that, and I think that they don't want it there. So whatever steps are going to be undertaken to develop that piece, I am virtually certain that it's not going to involve eminent domain.
Will the planning board reach?
That's for the record.
Will the planning board reach in there about that?
I don't know if they have plans to do that, but I don't believe that there's going to be any eminent domain at that piece. That's for the record.
One more point of order, Mayor. Will Ms. Green's testimony, as it's been historically, be in private session and not include the public?
Yes.
Why would that be?
It's a matter of litigation.
But what is
It's
the
active
contention of the
litigation.
position?
It's active litigation.
I understand that. So you're potentially being sued then for a builder's remedy, say, for instance?
No.
Well, to discuss our plans, to inform the governing body with the opinion of our expert, and it's all under litigation.
So
It's
then
active,
then
current litigation.
Then her participation as advising counsel of our present options and circumstances is a matter of private session and not public?
This is like any other litigation, Jeff. It's
Well, you're
It's
not
current,
defending
it's-
yourself,
pardon
are you? Are we defending ourselves?
We defend ourselves.
we made an application. We are in the process of trying to conclude
The obligation.
the strictures set down by the Supreme Court
I understand.
in order to develop a plan that meets with their approval. Belleville wants to follow the law. Belleville wants to do what the Supreme Court told them to do, and that's all part of this mix that's going to go on in private.
Well, your chief reference for, I assume, information on the subject is Ms. Green, and I don't see where her information is a matter of private and not public information.
She's advising the governing body. It's litigation. She's advising the governing body as the governing body's expert in this litigation of what her opinions are and what the alternatives are
So
for
we
the
don't
governing
get to
body.
hear the conclusion.
Pardon me?
So we only get tuned in at the conclusion of the deliberation and what the issues are that you're considering.
Well, there will come a time when there's no reason to continue to be in private session when the litigation is concluded. And until that time,
I appreciate that's a matter of our decision as a council.
Mhm.
That doesn't concern the public to understand what the circumstances are. Nobody's trying to influence your decision, not even have perhaps even public testimony, but to hear what the information is that's being presented as our options and circumstances we presently find ourselves in seems to be a matter of public knowledge, should be a
it's
matter of
not.
public knowledge.
It's not. It hasn't been finalized yet. When it's finalized, then it will be, but it hasn't been finalized.
Okay,
It's as simple
so
as
we're in the dark.
as simple as that.
Okay.
Motion to go into private. Second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli? Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. If they're private, there'll be no further action taken.
One point of order, as part of the executive session announcement, it should include the date by which you expect that deliberation to be made public. That is also in the OPMA. Do you have an idea when that will be?
We don't know when the judge makes
decides.
the decision.
Have the documents been filed then that you would be discussing at some point when it is finalized, the final documents? All right, I guess we'll see going forward.
I'm sorry, but you're
Everybody got
Anybody
Sure.
like to speak?
Jeff, and not that I'm hurrying you, but we have the court tonight, so if we could get up and state what we want to state. Okay. You lit up?
Yep.
Jeff Madigan, 56 Walnut. Coming here tonight, I was expecting to hear something about the requirements that we're facing here and the actions that you may or may not take. So it seems somewhat premature to stand up and comment on something that we have yet to hear all the details about. So it's just a kind of a blind shot here, and so I'm not really into trying to take lots in the dark. So I'd like to reserve comment until such time as we actually learn something about what it is that you're planning to do. So be not having been privy to any of the conversation that you had, the testimony with Ms. Green, it seems moot to start throwing in the dark.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Franklin, can you speak?
I'd just like to clarify something, Mr. Murphy, if I got it correct. You're saying this fair sharing housing center? Is that
Yes.
correct?
They're a participant in the ongoing litigation among
Well, I want to reach it, but is that the correct title of it?
Fair Share Housing Center. Yes.
Okay. Do we know who the principals are of that?
The individual with whom I've been communicating is Kevin Walsh. He's an attorney,
And they're the ones that brought this lawsuit?
and he represents them.
Is this the group that brought this lawsuit?
Well, I would call them interveners. Yeah, that would call them interveners. The towns themselves are the parties, but there are other interested parties. Some of them are builders that intervene in the litigations. We're just one county.
All right, because, years ago, I testified some of the COVID things, and they come through that thing, we come to find out, a lot of these cases, these builders, they have no more land to build. They want to make money, so they're the ones, they come up with these phony names, that's what we want to see if that's it. So I hope we don't succumb to them and do this, because this, Christie was right, this COVID thing has to go out the window. I mean, my sister lives in Baskin Ridge, back then they had an obligation. So they moved low-income people up there. The people had no jobs. They had no cars, so what were they doing up there? This is such an issue that's killing the state and costing us money in litigation law. So I hope you find it. And just one thing I want to say, sometimes the rumors in this town come out to
The
be
truth.
reality, But I hope we're not thinking of rezoning the valley to 24 units per acre and changing the commercial industrial to residential. So you don't have to comment on that, but I hope that doesn't even see the light
I'll
of
comment
day.
on it, Vinnie. I've never heard that. It's never been mentioned in this council.
All right, well, then, thank you, but we don't want, and next town meeting, I'll
Like you
bring
said,
all the things in
sometimes
all
rumors
over.
outnumber the truth.
In industrial warehouse distribution it's popping up all over the place. We have an ideal, so I hope you push that kind of development for Belleville.
Thank you.
Jerry Delgertia, 8 Grove Street. I've seen this alleged thing about the valley, but I see nothing in any of the drafts. What I saw in the draft was Washington Avenue and Washington Avenue only. And it mentions about raising the density to 24 units an acre on Washington Avenue.
I have no idea what you're
What are
talking
you
about.
talking about, sir?
You don't?
No.
All I was saying, if you're looking to change the zones on Washington Avenue,
No.
to make it all one. Because right now it's like a checkerboard square, it changes
Would that
every
come
couple
to
of
you?
months. Huh?
Wouldn't that come before your board?
No, it would come before the planning board. Changes in zones come before the planning board. The problem is there is cases that come before the zoning board.
Right.
And we'll have, for example, the building that was just built, that was completed next to the apartment building on the, and it's near the Elks, okay? That has or was approved for a store on the first floor, offices on the second, and apartments on the third. But it was in a zone that only allowed offices. Stores and apartments, commercial and apartments were not allowed.
Okay.
So I would like everything to be uniform.
We haven't seen anything or heard about anything like that.
Mayor,
Okay.
can I clarify the record for a second? With regard to Mr. Frantantoni's question about fair share, it's not correct to call them interveners. Actually, what they did in response to COA not operating, being kind of deadlocked for years, what they did, they actually filed with the Supreme Court a motion to get the COA regulations going again. They're a not-for-profit group that advocates for affordable housing. So they were actually they're a non-municipal party, but they're a party. They're in it.
But they want to call back.
Second,
They
please.
want to call back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Required.
they want COA, they want enforced. And the Supreme Court agreed with them.
61 Continental. I'm going to generalize if I have the concept. When they dissolved code, threw it to the courts, every town was assigned an affordable housing number, I believe. I thought it was close to 800. And you had X amount of time to file an appeal to the courts. Is that what we filed? Or are we talking something totally different? Or did we file it way back?
I can answer the obligation part if you want. So far, our judge has not issued any obligations for any town in our vicinage. So we have not received any obligation numbers yet. As far as the court proceeding, every town was required to either file a declaratory judgment or subject themselves to a bill of remedy lawsuit. We filed a declaratory judgment to protect the town and the residents. Proactively.
That was the thing within the time frame.
Right, from June to July of last year.
All right, thank you.
Motion to close?
Second. Clerk will roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Nattari? Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg? Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.